Well, we're rolling, you legends. My brother's getting his machine ready. Mine's already ready to go. It's gonna be cold today. Time for the heavy gloves. I've got 3 layers, which is what I need for my torso. Shoes are covered. Got my all-season rain covers on there because we expect rain. We got our mud guards on. It's not the day to be cute. Of course, the rest of the people are iffy, so we're just gonna head out. So we'll get some clips for you legends as the day goes on.
On this ride, Paul and I left Northampton. It was cold and wet, rain, overcast, driving rain. We filmed on Fishcreek. Once we got outside of the woodlands, after we filmed our warm-up, and we filmed until we got into Hornier. The rain continued to come and it just continued to pound us. So we decided to kind of shorten the ride, and we did fewer hours than we would normally do. Had all kinds of challenges. Our gloves got completely wet, these so-called water resistant gloves. So there's one area we're going to work on, getting maybe some mittens to be like a raincoat for the hand. So we'll see how that goes, but I think you would like the clips that we got for you. You legends, it is cold. Look at this beautiful day. Nice and gray. You can see the pavement a little wet. It's been raining on and off overnight. It's supposed to rain throughout the day, so we got our mud guards on. We're at Kuykendahl. Get some clips on the warm-up. We're at Creekside Forest in Kuykendahl, on the outskirts of the Woodlands, Texas. We're headed east on Kuykendahl Boulevard here. I had unzipped the gilet to get the camera out of my pocket, and the wind hit me when we turned here, so you will see me zip up because it is just biting cold. It feels colder than 2 Celsius. 2 Celsius is 36 degrees Fahrenheit. It feels like we're right at the freezing mark. I want to get myself covered. So this wind, I feel it. So as you venture out in different conditions, you have to test the pieces of your kit that work. You identify them and the ones that don't. On this ride with the rain, the Estremo did not hold up. The water resistance did not resist too many rounds. They got soaked through and through, which made my hands cold. The Ultras has performed better in the cold and wet than the Estremo. So they're fine when it's just cold, but they're not for rain. They're not for consistent rain. Hence, we're going to get some mittens to work with the gloves we have. So when it's rainy and wet, I'm going to break out the Ultras with liners when it's very cold, because they're the best performing rainy weather gloves so far. I've got some other ones I will be testing in other conditions, but they failed miserably. Also, my bib shorts failed, meaning they kept the rain off, the rain or shine Castelli, but they let too much wind through, and my legs literally got cold. I never have that happen when I'm wearing bib tights. So for me, I don't need lightweight bib tights. I want bib tights that will keep me warm. Because when I put on bib tights, it's cold. Otherwise, I can wear leg warmers, knee warmers with, you know, shorts that are lined, and they will work just as well. So the Castelli will keep the rain off. I like their fit and everything, but they let too much wind through. So they're not for the very cold weather. I would say their limit would be 5 Celsius, feel-like temperature, which is about 45 degrees Fahrenheit. Much lower than that, you start to feel the chill. I gotta get used to the Estremo. That's why I didn't pick it up our usual way. But don't change how you pass it. I was telling Paul, don't change how he passes the camera, because there's a certain way we pass it, so we don't break our rhythm. But I grabbed it differently because of how the Estremo felt, the silicone in the hands. I was still getting accustomed to it. So what I identified on this ride was everything worked great except for the Estremo getting completely wet. My shoes were completely dry after hours in the rain. And so the Assos rain, they call it the RS rain overshoes or rain booties. I believe they're rain overshoes, but they worked. I've never had rain overshoes that were breathable that kept the water completely out, and they did that today. They worked even better than the Rafa Pro Team overshoes that we have, because they get wet after a while and water goes through. These all-season RS rain overshoes kept the water out. My feet and shoes were completely dry. I was very impressed. So I will also be testing their winter GT booties that are supposed to be, they're supposed to have the same material that they use on their winter jackets. And that's supposed to keep wind and rain out. So that's the first pair of overshoes that not only look good, the aesthetics are great, but they kept my feet 100% dry. I was very impressed. And I did not even have to use my sleeve on this ride that we put at the top, because they really make with your lower leg well. They have that raw cut that they use. So Assos has it figured out. Their DWR treated Ultras overshoes are not for rain. They're for just cold weather. So they resisted rain for like 2 hours when I tested them. But after that, they got water through. They still kept my feet warm after that, but I don't want my shoes wet. And these overshoes work great. So it was good to have a product finally that does what it says. So if you're looking for rain overshoes that will keep your feet dry, not for extremely cold, definitely the RS rain overshoes from Assos. They work. I will test their winter GT winter booties that are supposed to be wind and rain proof. They've got lots of nice pieces of kit. So that's what I'm focused on, is finding those pieces that will solve the chinks in the armor. So if it hadn't been for the gloves, everything would have been perfect. The jacket that you see me wearing is made out of, they call it Schlossen, the Schloss-Tex material. I've got a review coming up about the jacket. The jacket was perfect. It's not only breathable, I'm using it as a shell, as a layer here, but it kept me dry. No water got through, and I didn't boil. So they've got that solved. This is their the RS rain jacket Targa. That's what they call it. Targa means team or gang. So teamwork. When you have the right equipment, you can ride in any kind of weather. So we turned around, I think like the 3-hour mark. So we ended up doing almost 5 hours, but the wind just kept pounding us and slowing us down. You will see that. We filmed quite a bit on Fishcreek, where the wind was at its worst. I like to get out on Saturday morning. Unless the weather is unsafe, I'm getting out. That's the reason I have invested over the years in the proper kit. There's no excuses. You just got to put a little bit of time in finding the pieces you need. So needless to say, I was not too pleased with my Castelli tights. I guess it was outside their range. It's not their fault. It is a mid-weight bib. But I've been spoiled. The Rafa bibs, you don't get cold when you wear them. So there would be the ones I would lean to. Anything below 5 Celsius, I would say. So once it dips below 45, you got to get the heavier stuff out. The Castelli bibs, I believe, will be great from 40 to like and up, 40, 65, something like that. You can wear that comfortably. But I don't like to wear bib tights in those conditions. If it's going to be that warm, I can put on knee warmers. I'll go ahead and take the left lane here because we're going to be turning left right about here. We're going on Flintridge North. That's what you see there. It's right here, we're turning left. So my legs never got wet. So the rain or shine, Castelli, Sopaso, they definitely keep the water off of you, but you need them in cool to mild temperatures. You don't wear them in the very cold. So I took them outside the range just to see, because I really like the fit. All right, you legends, we're gonna film. The weather just got worse. Rain is more challenging. So we're gonna share that with you all. We're on Fishcreek Blvd. Paul is wearing the Rafa Shadow rain jacket, which is also very breathable. I have a copy as well. And I'm wearing the Assos Gear, the RS rain jacket Targa. That's their racing series. I like the fit, I like the function, the breathability, everything. You put it on, you forget you're in the rain. And with those mud guards, we were completely dry. And I told you already about my feet with the RS rain overshoes. They did their job. They're the best ones next to the Velotoes that I've tried. And they're breathable, so my feet were not sweaty. So they worked. We decided to film intentionally here because we always film after the rain has stopped or if it's light. This is driving rain. I treated the lens with Rain X. That's why you don't see it sticking as much. It's gonna get blown off, and we still had to wipe it periodically because it was raining so much. But we're going into the teeth of the wind. It is blowing. In a little bit, I'm gonna cut the background music so you can hear it. Call Paul up.
All right.
When we ride, we rotate often so he can get a taste of the wind. And then sometimes if he's not feeling very strong and he sits in the back longer, I would just sit up there and pull longer because it gives me the workout I need. But it's nice to be riding with somebody who comes through so you can get a break. You can sit up a little bit. They're punching a little bit of a hole. You see, I just cleaned the lens a little while ago. Now, in a few kilometers, I would tell him about his jacket pulled up like that, because then the jersey gets wet because the rain jacket is not covering everything. With these gloves that we have, the heavy gloves, it's hard to tell where the jacket ends and where the jersey begins. So sometimes you miss that. And it's so windy that when I do tell him, he just acknowledges it, but you don't see him right away jump on it because we needed to keep our hands on the bars at that moment. We're going downhill and the wind was just blowing. So with the mud guards, see the water dripping off the bottom of the mud guards? Now, in some areas when we have a lot of water on the road, depending on the speed we're carrying, we have to like back off or go to one side because the water will splatter towards the back. But those mud guards really work. I don't ride without them. Whenever there's a threat of rain, I put them on the bike. Once I doubt, I just stick them on there because they don't interfere with what I'm doing. But they sure keep me clean and dry. They may not be full mud guards, but they do the work because most of the dirt comes from the back wheel and the front wheel on your shoes. So these overshoes work. So if you're looking for overshoes that work, look in the description of this video. I will put the link there for it. They're all season, so they're not for very cold weather. So I'm wearing winter socks and I'm wearing the Rafa Classic shoes, which are pretty much sealed. They got a little bit of ventilation, but there are no holes under the bottom. So no water got in the shoe. The back of my Achilles had a little bit of dampness, but it was because of where that shoe cover met my ankle. The socks were in the way. But they're the first shoe covers I worn where my shoes and the insoles were completely dry. And I told Paul during the ride, I said, I don't feel any squishiness in my feet. And when I got home, I confirmed it and called him immediately to let him know. So they work. It's nice to find products that do their job. So, you know, Assos is doing something special. I like things that look good and function well. And you put them on, it doesn't feel like you're wearing much because they're for all season. You wear them all year long, except for very cold temperatures. Because right here at 1C, if I weren't wearing my winter socks, I probably would have felt my feet a little cool. So the winter GT booties are the next one I will test because they're for rain and cold. And I'll do a review. I don't know if I did a review on the RS overshoes. I may do one and bring it out so you guys would know because they work. I like these overshoes because there's no DWR treatment or any of that stuff that you have to reapply after a while. They just work. It's the material they're made out of that make them work. Can't tell you how many pieces of overshoes I have and have had that come with these DWR treatment, and then you just, after a while, water soaks through. It might last an hour or so. I mean, what's the point of that? We ride too long to be wearing products that only last an hour. So this material that they use in their overshoe, this particular overshoe that Assos calls they call it their RS Rain Booties. So the material itself is what repels water, and so, you know, it's very aerodynamic according to their claims for year-round racing and training. They use an ultra-thin 2-layer waterproof breathable water shield textile. That's what they use. So the textile itself, they said it will protect your feet in the wettest condition. It's nice to read a marketing spiel that is actually true. They use a 2L waterproof water shield textile constructed with a super light foot molding membrane that's as protective as it is aerodynamic, and I can confirm that. Then they said that the waterproof 2L textile is reversed to expose the slippery silver membrane. Whatever that is, I don't know what the silver membrane is. The arrow cut ensures light compressive support throughout the ankle and the lower leg, while the zero cuff and reverse waterproof cam lock zipper round out the streamlined design. They're very easy to put on. They have tape seams everywhere, and nothing got through. If you wear them for extended periods of time, there's a little bit of perspiration. So even though it's breathable, you get a little bit of moisture, but I think the moisture that I saw inside when I was taking it off came from the top of the cuffs where the socks interfered. I'm telling Paul here that the Sopaso are not keeping me as warm as the Rafa tights do, because we're going into the wind and it's raining, and it's keeping the rain off of me. I'm not wet, my legs are not wet, but the wind is going through the Sopaso. So it's not as wind proof as some of the heavier bibs. It is a midweight bib, so when you get something like that, know the range. This is outside its range. I mean, at 1 Celsius, it feels like -2 Celsius. It feels like 28. That driver tapped his horn. We took this lane, we took the whole lane because we needed it, because we weren't going to ride on the shoulder where you see that shine, that's the water. We used the lane. They could use the other one. So it's nice to finally find a product that shields my foot completely. Now I can relax, no more experimentation, because even my Pro Team overshoes, they're DWR treated. They are not waterproof. They will keep water off, but eventually your feet will get wet. That is not the case with the RS Rain Booties from Assos. They're 100% waterproof. You just need to make sure your cuff is lying on your skin, not on the sock that you wear. So wear a short sock that's shorter than the Rain Booties, and you'll be good to go. Because they really mate with the lower leg very well. So at this point here, the gloves I'm wearing, the Castelli, is getting soaked. The Estremo is dubbed as water resistant. Yeah, but who controls how long? It got soaked through and through. And after that, my hands got terribly cold. So definitely don't wear them when it's going to be raining for any extended period of time. So they tout them as water resistant. Yeah, they may resist for a few minutes, but if it's going to be raining for a while, those are not the gloves you want to wear, or you need to put mittens over them. And I'm looking into the idea of mittens because then you can block wind as well. And there are some companies that make mittens that are really lightweight, I think a bit overpriced for what they are, but they block the wind, they block water, basically like a raincoat for your hands.
So with the rain, everything feels colder.
Yeah, once you're in the rain and you get all that moisture, then you got the wind, you get the evaporative effect. It feels colder. You know, we feel like we're below zero. So at this point, my legs are cold because the Castelli shorts, bib tights I'm wearing are letting it wind. It's not letting it rain, but wind is getting through, and we're heading into the wind. So the Sopaso being a mid-weight bib tight was not for this situation. I just wanted to see how far I could push it to see how it would perform, and I really just wanted to wear it since I just did a review. I wanted to kind of put it out in a riding situation. So this is outside its range. If you go much below 5C, yeah, it's not gonna feel very comfortable unless it's a warm 5C. We're like 1 Celsius and we're headed into the wind, which feels like below zero. So it's a mid-weight bib. It's not for deep winter riding. So it did not feel, the bibs Paul's wearing, the Pro Team Rafa bib tights, they're warm and they keep water off of you. So since I'd worn my Assos winter tights last week, I wanted to put the Sopaso through the paces, but this condition would have been ideal for the Assos bib tights because they're waterproof and they're warm and breathable. So yeah. In a little bit you hear me tell Paul to cover his jersey.
On the right side, pull it down. Cover your jersey on the right side.
We have our face covered, so that's why my voice sounds muffled because of this wind. So even though I told him to do that, because of the wind and we're going a little downhill, he's waiting till the conditions favor him taking one hand off the bar and grabbing that and pulling it down. So I gave him the camera and came to the front. He's already pulled it over because you want to cover your jersey with your rain jacket. Otherwise, when you get to where you're going, your jersey will be soaked. So you need to get rain jackets that are designed with a long tail to go all the way down and cover everything you care about. I don't care to have any pockets on my rain jacket because it doesn't make sense. I want the jacket to cover the pockets on the jersey I'm wearing. Because if I have pockets on the rain jacket, it better be pockets that are sealed. And then it'd probably be a pain to get into it anyway. So it just seems to defeat the purpose. And that's why both of the rain jackets I use have no pockets. They're breathable. I can wear them in rain or shine. I can wear them as just a layer, or I can wear them as a rain shield. And they repel rain. And you can breathe. I mean, they're breathable. So you don't feel like you're wearing just plastic. So I really love the materials they're using. That Schloss-Tex material also does not rustle in the wind. I really like that feature. We're going in stiff wind. You can see how the jacket is fitted. It's not moving around much. So they got it sorted out. So I was very impressed with the performance of this jacket. They need to take that material that they made this jacket out of and make a pair of gloves, because it keeps the wind out, it keeps water out. Just take the same thing and make some gloves out of it. And they have similar materials that they put in there, the Ultras gloves. The Ultras glove would have been perfect in these conditions because the water just rolls off the back. You just want to make sure you don't turn the hand up to get water soaked in the material on the inside. You know, it'll take a little bit of time, but they do eventually get soaked on the inside. But if the outside is exposed, unlike the Estremo, they would have performed well. They would have kept my hands warmer. And as the temperature continued to drop, I was like, okay, even if I had worn a liner, the liner would have gotten wet. Because both of us were wearing water-resistant gloves. Paul's wearing the Sportful. It got wet. And he had liners. I did not wear liners because this is the range for the Estremo. But its failure was the inability to keep the water from going through. So in a few kilometers, well, probably about maybe 5 kilometers, we will come across more of them heading the other way. What had happened is that somebody had posted a ride on the GroupMe app and said, we're leaving at 7:30 in the morning if it's not raining. Well, that's too conditional, because if it's not raining, where? I mean, the rain was supposed to be out here. If you looked at the weather, it was going to be raining somewhere. So even if you leave and it's not raining from where you leave, you're going to head into rain. And then on top of it, they don't have mud guards. So when it rains, we don't ride with them, because I don't want to get dirty water all on me. And you'll see when we come across them, they're going the other way, you will see how spaced out they are. They are not drafting each other, because it's not a whole lot of fun riding in the rain. I did that when I used to race. You get water all on your face and all of that. You know, you don't want to sit at the front the whole race or the whole ride. You got to, you know, get in some shelter. So it's so much better having the shield on your tires, as you can see here. So we stay clean. Just the rainwater gets on us, not the water off the road. And that's what makes you dirty. So even though we're fighting the rain, I employed the tactic of riding like I was climbing a mountain pass. Kept my cadence relatively low. I have been doing that in the last few rides, trying to get my legs stronger, handling larger gears, because my aerobic system is ahead of my legs, and so I'm trying to get them to where they can handle a little more load. So some of my workouts have been structured like that, but it just allows you to set a tempo, some kind of rhythm, and then you just drive. That's what you see me doing here. So that's how you train for climbing in the wind if you don't have mountain passes. I mean, climbing a mountain, you use the wind and you go ahead and set a tempo. The only thing about the wind is relentless. At least on a climb, you reach the top. And we've been going into this wind for almost 2 hours. There's a car coming, so I let Paul know there's a car coming. We take a wide turn, keep the bike upright. It makes more sense to slow down, take your turns in the wet carefully, even if you're in an event, because it takes more time to peel yourself off the pavement and get back going than to slow down and at least make sure you stay within your skill level and capabilities. This is Capitol Hill Road. This is where I mentioned to Paul that my legs are cold, which is odd. The inside of my thighs and my lower leg was cold. The wind was being hitting it. The bibs had let it through.
But the rougher shorts are warmer.
So I let him know that rougher shorts are warmer because I've never felt cold in them, even in the rain.
The funny thing, my hands are fine. The strimmer has kicked in, whatever it is.
So he had wanted us to turn left at the intersection in about a kilometer or two. And I thought, nah, let's just turn right. Let's go ahead and finish the route, the wider route. And I'm glad we did, because that's where we encountered more than them going the other way. You can hear that wind. That's why I turned the music off.
I still think we should go right.
This is why I told him I still think we should go right. He wanted us to go left since I said my legs were cold. I thought I'm not that cold.
I'll be fine.
So my hands were
It's like my shin and the inside of my thigh is cold, which is weird when you think about it.
Yeah, my hands were the most affected by the end of the ride. They were just really, really cold. Because once the gloves got wet, that was it. They didn't insulate. They're not like neoprene.
It covers you.
Even neoprene doesn't function very well in the very cold. They have their range.
Yep, they're for deep winter stuff, man. They just don't mess around.
So it takes an investment of time to really identify and try different things. That's why I try to do these reviews on this channel to kind of help people, steer people in the right direction. You have to invest the time. You can't just go out and just buy anything. Because a lot of these products, they oversell them. They make claims that are not really realistic.
So with the rain, it feels colder out here. So you got to factor all of that in.
So that rain jacket performed admirably. I mean, it was just, it was like, what rain? And so did the Apparel shorts. They kept the water from going through, but man, the wind went right through them. It just stayed cold the whole day. It didn't warm up much. You can see it's been one seat the whole time we're riding, and it feels like below zero. Because I don't cover my face until we get to like freezing, and that's kind of where we were. So, you know, a little bit, somebody's coming out of a driveway on the right, and he's coming out kind of fast. And so Paul calls out to him because it doesn't look like he's going to stop. And you can kind of tell. That's what those are the things you got to watch out for. You got to protect yourself. I think it's right here. Right there. He was coming out too quickly. I had a feeling he was going to stop, but you don't back out full speed like you're racing out of the driveway if you intend to stop. You kind of roll out casually. But it just looked like, so Paul was like, hey, you know, and then he hit the brakes, or whoever's driving. In a little bit here, we're going to see more of them coming the other way. This is Ribbon Chapel Drive. We're in Honier. We're going into the wind. It's raining. Not as much as it was on Fish Creek. The rain had lessened by the time we got out here. But you notice how clean we are. And here they are coming. That's Mo. That's Darren. Look at the spacing between them. They're not drafting tight because there's a lot of spray. I'm laughing because Mo did a circle, like turn around to go with us. Mo did a circle with his hand, like he wanted us to turn around.
And Shovels out was there too.
So those were the guys that said they would ride if it didn't rain. And so I guess when they started, it wasn't raining, because as you see, when we started, it wasn't raining, and they came out and encountered the rain. They're headed back. It was good to see them to realize we're not the only crazies out here. That's what my wife said. When I got back home, she said, Paul and I are crazy. I told her, I said, it's not crazy. We like being out on our bikes. I love days like these because the roads are quieter. Nobody wants to come out. In fact, on this ride, I had a front flat. Piece of flint got on my tire and worked its way in. We stopped to repair the flat at an Aldi grocery store. The store was open. parking lot was completely empty. And we laughed about it. No one was shopping this Saturday morning. And Saturday morning is the heaviest shopping morning every weekend. You know, I'll go ahead and take the lead here. So as we turn here, I'm not as cold because we had come down that hill with a crosswind. My legs are not as cold, but my hands are getting colder because now those gloves are soaked all the way through. So it's good to identify which products work in what conditions, because then you know what to grab when you're heading out. Or you know what to shop for. At this point, I'm just going to focus on finding mittens because when it's super windy, I put them on, and windy and cold. Or if it's raining, you take them, stick them in your pocket. They're pretty small. They got some that are, you fold up real small. You slip them on when you need to. The rest of the time, put them up because it's not that often that it gets cold and wet down here. But it's good to have the piece of kit you need for these conditions. So it's nice to have ridden in such weather, and the only thing wet were my hands. But that made them uncomfortable even in those very warm gloves. But no other part of my kit failed. Listen to the wind. And that's why the Sopaso felt cold, because they're not as heavy. They're not designed to be. So when you get products, make sure you study the ranges they're designed for. I wore them primarily because I knew it was going to rain. I did not figure on this wind being as stiff. If the wind had not been as stiff, they would have been fine. You know, and then a few kilometers, once we turned around, they were fine. I cannot say the same for the Estremo. They should have made it a little more robust against water ingress. Because most of the time when it's cold in the winter, you encounter wet weather. So the Estremo are not great for like British weather where it rains a lot, or even Seattle. Yeah, they're not going to work very well there. You need something that's more waterproof. I'm keeping the effort right in zone 2, regardless of what the speed says, and I'm really just keeping the rhythm. 70 to 85 is the range I think about when I'm doing this, but the wind is just pounding. We're going slower and slower. As we go to the top of this hill, the wind picks up even more. The jacket is very deceiving. It fits me so well, you can't really tell how much wind I'm dealing with. Well, I can feel the wind going around me, and you know, when you have a good position on the bike, the wind just kind of goes around you. Listen to that. And this is dubbed, so just to give you an idea what kind of winds we were dealing with. This was not anything near normal for our area. Whatever brought this rain brought a lot of gusts. So we used this road. We went to Mill Route and we took 2854 and headed back towards town. Once we turned around, my hands actually got colder downwind because it's just cold. And then with that water in there, so we had to stop for some reason. I think we stopped for like a health break and took the gloves off and wrung the water out like you'd washed them. So they basically absorbed all the water. So definitely they will not see intentional rain again as long as I use them. I wanted to see just how resistant they were to water. So you might get 10 minutes, if that, out of them. That's it. In heavy rain. So right there, you see how shiny it is? I told Paul to slow down. Yeah, because when the pavement's shiny like that, it's slippery.
You legends. It's Sunday morning. I'm going to turn on this computer. It's probably around 8:30 or so. I'm rolling out. It's still cold here in Central Texas. Probably about 7 Celsius, but it feels colder. So I'm going out and doing a long ride today. Because yesterday's weather was just so challenging, we ended up turning around earlier than planned. So I just turned on the computer here. It's a little after 8 o'clock, so it's getting set up. I want to show you my kit I'm wearing. I'm putting on the heavy-duty stuff today. I've got my Targa Assos jersey, and then I've got the rain/wind vest or gilet, and I've got a base layer under that thermal. So I've got 2 layers plus this, so there's 3 layers. Then I've got my head wrap, the winter head wrap from Assos. They keep being kind of warm because we have a lot of moisture because it rained a lot yesterday. Let me put this down so you can see my whole kit as I put on my gloves.
Assos calls the head wrap RoboFoil. Works really well. I'm wearing the 3 out of 3.
So I'm wearing my winter I keep base.
That's the RS.
Tights.
I keep winter tights from Assos.
Sleeves against my skin. I mean, you can do either one. Like I've got it on top. It's not raining, so that would probably work. I've got a liner in my back pocket just in case I need it. I've got the Assos liner gloves in there because you never really know with these. Yesterday, the Estremo failed miserably in the rain. They say it's water resistant, but the rain kicked its butt. It didn't resist much. It got wet and my hands got cold. Right now, these feel really good. So if it gets any colder, because where I'm going, we're going north, there's going to be a lot of wind hitting both directions. So hope the camera picked up what I'm talking about, but I'll get some clips for you all and mix it in with yesterday's ride.
All right, you legends. It took me about an hour to get out of town. It's about 4.5 Celsius, about 40 degrees Fahrenheit. Feels slightly cooler. The Ultras are doing a great job. I mean, they're supposed to be deep winter gloves, and they're okay. Once it gets below 40 degrees on my gloves, for me, I go ahead and use a liner. Right now, I don't need to use a liner. I brought one with me because I'm headed north, and the wind's coming from the north. You can see that flag blowing a little bit towards me. It's not heavy yet, but it will be. I've got my Assos I keep jacket, a Targa jacket, the RS, and it is very warm. I've got a thermal base layer under it, and I had to unzip the top of my gilet and the jacket when I was riding out here because I rode pretty hard to get out. Did an intense warm-up.
They call it a jacket. It's more like a jersey slash jacket.
149,
like
I want to go
jersey.
Keenan cut off. That's the plan anyway. I want to get about 4.5 or 5 hours in, thereabouts. You know, you planning and stuff happens, but the wind is picking up now. I can feel it blowing from this direction that I have the camera pointed in, which is north. That's the reason why you have to dress for the wind, not just the temperature. So that's why I wore the gilet until I get used to the range for the Targa. I'll put the gilet on there, but it was a bit hot coming out, so I had to unzip. And that's the cool thing, you can regulate your temperature very well. Of course, my shoes are covered. I'm using the Rafa Pro Team covers. They're working very well, no problems there. So my hands are fine, feet are fine, head's fine. I'm wearing the Assos Winter
RoboFoil
skull cap.
It's an unusual name for a cap.
They're working great. So you can't always get it perfectly, but you got to get out, practice, and see what works for you in what temperature ranges, and get a general idea. And then you hedge. Sometimes you carry stuff in your pocket. Sometimes you have to take off stuff. I'd much rather take off than not have it. So These gloves are better in the rain, just from the fabric on them. They would repel more water. But the next thing I'm going to add to the arsenal will be some mittens that's easily packable, so I can put those on to block wind and rain. And I think that will get everything perfect, because I got my feet situation perfected. The Assos all-season shoe covers kept water out yesterday, and we rode in torrential rains, and it did its job. It's just not very warm because it's for all year. So I will be adding their GT winter booty, which is for cold and rainy temperatures. So that's the way to go. That's how you got to do it. You got to continually figure out what you need and just get those pieces of kit to round out your arsenal, I call it, your equipment. And that way you'll be able to ride in most conditions that are conducive to cycling. This is an area called Karen. It's a town or a village in northwest Montgomery County called Karen. And I've never been down this road, but we go by it all the time. The wind has picked up, of course, which drops the actual temperature. So it's around 6 Celsius, which is about 43 Fahrenheit, but it feels like upper 30s. So feel comfortable. These gloves pretty much, they're working really well. My hands are cool, but not uncomfortable. Never been down this road, so I just wanted to bring you guys along, because this is an explorational ride, another adventure. It's a well-paved road. The dogs already know I'm here. Look at them. Look at them racing each other. What's up, boys? They're all excited. They want to prove that they're faster than I am. That's what I researched about dogs, and that's why they chase you. There's another guy over there. It looks like a little neighborhood. Looks like a little neighborhood. Single family homes. Look at this road though. It is beautiful. I'm going downhill. It says -2. So it'll be a nice climb coming out. I had pounded my legs on Mount Magnolia, and so I'm recovering. I did a power interval on Mount Magnolia. And once I got on 149, I decided to check this out. I want to check out the street across from here on the other side of the highway. The railroad tracks. I don't know if you can see those cows. I may have to blow it up in post-production. But it's pretty back here. Look at the lake. The sun has finally come out. Oh wow, it's been gray all weekend, and now it just came out. It's beautiful. It just lifts your spirits. It just came out, it just broke through the clouds. It's very nice. This is nice back here. It looks like it hit some road back there. So these are the kind of roads that Paul likes to check out, so we'll have to bring him out here. Look at that hill over there. This looks like a cul-de-sac. Allison Road. That road looks like another way out of here, so I'm definitely gonna check it out. It goes left and right in the distance there. Real quiet. Just single family homes, nothing fancy. Very nice. Looks comfortable. It's a good sized neighborhood. Magnolia Mills is called. Hope this camera can pick up those homes in the distance. Such a wide angle camera. Another. Look at those guys. He's racing me. All right, you win. I hope he doesn't come on the road. Everybody's fenced in, so that's good. It says no outlet in either direction, so let's go see where they go. It's a nice little 2.3% right here. Odell has a Magnolia Hills Drive. I'm gonna go to the right. See where it leads. It's probably gonna just dead end in a few kilometers. The pavement's very good back here. Get a good workout back in here. Yeah, that's nice. Look at that. So you probably have gyms in your neighborhood that you can check out. All those roads that you pass on your route. From time to time, turn on one of them and go see what they look like. It's almost like a log cabin, the way it's built. You can actually see the logs. I'm just riding one gear this whole time. I just want to work my legs, make them tired. Yeah, it dead ends over there. Be a nice climb coming back. Cul-de-sac. At least a 2.5–3% climb leaving here. I'm just gonna leave it in the same gear. Just ride low cadence. The dogs can hear the bike in the distance barking. It's interesting to know all of this is back here. We blow by it on the main highway all the time. So periodically it helps to just take the time and explore some of the roads you pass, see what's there. I would never have any reason to come back here if I were in a car. And look at the other climb in the distance. You legends, I wanted to show you this part of the area I'm in called Tai-Lakes. Look at those cows just hanging out. The sun is out. The clouds have dissipated. We've got a beautiful sunny day, a fair day. Look at the lake. This area is called Tai-Lakes. There are, I guess, 3 lakes in here. I've seen only a couple, but it's a quiet area, always quiet. Really good for doing some serious work on the bike or just coming out, minimal traffic and hanging out, getting your K's in. It's about 13 Celsius temperature wise, but it feels cooler. I haven't really had to shed anything, so I had to open up the G-Lay to get the camera out, but other than that, I'm not taking anything off because it is cool. The wind is blowing from the north, which will keep our temperature down. But later in the week it's supposed to warm up. Actually tomorrow it'll be about 13 degrees warmer. But it was good getting out today and getting some K's in the legs, because about doing your own thing is you can decide how you want to carry out your ride. When you want to do some tempo, when you want to do some fartlek. So I'm headed south. The sun is out. My spirits are up. So join me for my little escapade. I'm gonna put down some tempo here. That's a pretty hill there. Kicks up, then goes to the right. Right here starts to bite. About 3%. It's doubled, almost 6%. I'm using larger gears than I normally would. I'm gonna overwork my legs. The day has made a dramatic change. Been on the road for quite some time, and I've been passed by maybe 2 cars. That's it. Comes by, it's like a rare sighting on this road. Every now and then you get a car, that's it. Sparsely populated. Got chased by some dogs on 1486. but I smoked them. I was in a big gear already, and once I got them behind me, they didn't stand a chance. This is the 9% climb. We're going the other way. Sometimes I come out here and I do repeats. But I like going this way because, as you see, the road kicks up, and from here to 149, you're working. So you can get a good amount of load. Right at there's this church right here on the side. Right here is where it starts to kick up. So depending on my mood, I decide which direction I take this road when I come out. Wind's coming from the left. A lot of shelter from those trees. Just put on a small chain ring. I'm just gonna kind of let my legs loosen up a bit. I've been pushing them all day. Keep cadence 75 to 85. That's my goal anyway. Good morning. That's a dog that lives here. That's a brown dog over there. I don't know if you guys can see him. He chases me from time to time inside the fence. He's laying down in the sun. There's another lake. Somebody's private little pond. I don't think it's what makes this Tai-Lakes. That's not an official lake. We're on the outskirts of Tai-Lakes now. We're approaching the area where I call the kamikaze dog that took out Dave. Those of you who've been here for a while. There's usually a lot of cows over there. They're hanging out. Way out there. They're just standing so still. They don't move around much. More people are out today than yesterday because the sun brings people out. Even if it's cold, if the sun's out, it just lifts your spirits. Right here it starts to kick up again. It's about 1%. I don't know if it doesn't go much over 3, but it just continues. And if the wind's here, you feel it. A couple of weeks, I think, actually last week, Paul and I saw that kamikaze dog. I thought he had moved away, but he's here. He didn't come out of the yard. This is his house right here. Black, charcoal gray and white color. Now the wind's picking up. Always the case here. This is his house where he took out Dave right here. by this mailbox, right on this spot down here. But he's not out today. So 5 hours and 5 minutes later, I'm rolling back. I'm about 2 kilometers from home. You see the day has just turned out to be really fair. All the clouds are gone. Clear blue skies. Very windy though. So temperature will stay down. It says 17°C, but it feels cooler. I didn't need to take anything off. So I'm taking this way to go back. So as I turn, the wind hits me. It's coming from the left. The north wind. But that same wind will take me home. In about 550 meters, I'm gonna turn right. This is a choke point on this road. So I take the whole road, because these yahoos make stupid decisions. It's blowing from in front of me and to the left. And these are my most treacherous roads within a kilometer of home, because they're not paying attention. It's supposed to be 20 miles an hour. They never do 20 miles an hour as the limit. They exceed the limit. Of course, they're always getting stopped, and they contribute to the donations of the traffic coffers. So to that effect, we have a lot of patrols that do that. But what I do here is, once I start to roll, if I'm doing the speed limit or close to it, I take the lane. This lane will become one through here. See, he ain't doing 20. Then when they get pulled over, they want to whine. But I make sure that my position dictates what they do. And that's what you have to do. See, it's becoming one lane here. This is a golf course on both sides. I'm surprised nobody's out there. It's a pretty day. You think somebody will be out there on the links. I guess it's too cold for golf, who knows? Empty. Sunday afternoon, you figured it'd be there. But I didn't plan on doing 5 hours, and I got out there, I started feeling good. The weather cleared up. So even with the wind blowing as stiffly as it has been, the day was just so fair. My spirits were uplifted, and I went further than planned. That's the way you have to do it. So now I got the wind behind me as I wrap up this ride. The one last little bump here before we get home is about 6%, but it's short. You know, a few power strokes, you're over it. That's what's in the distance there. Right at the entrance to this Willow Creek Golf Club. The stuff that was underwater a few years ago when Harvey came. Nobody's playing today. I see a lot of carts just sitting over there. Maybe they're about to start, who knows. It's kind of a slow game for me. Never took to it. And this is our little 6 to 7% bump right as we enter the heart of the subdivision. 6.1 right there, 6.6, 7.1, 7.2 on my head unit. That's usually the last climb we have to deal with. And right about here, we consider the ride to be over. Just kind of spin in. So I wanted to share today with you all. I hope you got a chance to get out there. This is part of what I did on my weekend.